Your equipment weighs heavy. I mean, one of the first things I threw away was my gas mask. And anything else I felt I didn't really need. And even though I was a young guy and not in bad shape, a lot of that equipment is heavy on you. You'd throw away blankets. Who the hell wants a blanket in the desert, you know, and this and that. Let Quartermaster bring some more up if we need them.
So you would strip down to the minimum?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say minimum, but some what we would call non-essentials.
And then talking about that, what were some of the essentials? Obviously your ammunition, your grenades, and then what about cigarettes? Were those something that a lot of the guys would bring with them or pack?
Yes, in fact, jokingly, and I smoked, I blamed the United States government for forcing me to smoke. I should have sued them because they gave you, in combat, we had combat rations. So you'd get a razor blade, little bottle of Aqua Velva aftershave, and a little bar of soap, and cigarettes, things like that. So I said to the captain, what do I do with this? He says, cigarettes, smoke them. What the hell do you think? And I did smoke for many years.
Did you smoke prior to the war or no?
Yes, I smoked prior to the war. I thought it was the in thing. Hell, I was only 17 at the time.
And it seems like cigarettes were issued obviously as a front line to combat troops. Did it help take the edge off?
Yes, I would say yes. To me, a glass of wine would have been a lot better, but there wasn't any available. But you've seen from many, many movies, anyone in a critical position, first thing they do is light up a cigarette.
And did a lot of your fellow paratroopers, did they smoke?
Almost all of them.
And what were the rules on that in a combat zone? Obviously, you couldn't light up a cigarette in the evening because you give away your position.
Correct.
So how did they get around that?
Well, you don't smoke, and you better not get caught. Yet, I learned later, I could detect a German cigarette or a French cigarette just from the smell that may have wafted towards me. But I never smoked if we were under surveillance, so to speak, by the enemy.
Now, was that true for the daytime also, or just in the evening?
Depends on the weather. Depends on the weather. Obviously, the intent is not to give your position away.